can be, you can say that the definitions of different things. The first thing is the luminous object. The luminous objects are those ones which generate their own light. For example, the sun, the bulb, the tube light, the candle, the fire. These are all the actually luminous objects. Then the second one is illuminated objects. These are those objects which reflect the light of the luminous objects. For example, the moon. And the third thing is line of sight. It is a line from an object or image to our eyes. And light from the object travels along this line to your eyes, means the rays of light are presented actually with the help of these lines. These are called line of sight. Then if an object is there and a few persons are just having a view of that object, then actually a cone of light rays travel towards our eye and enter into it and form the image into our eye. Luminous and illuminated objects both emit or reflect the light in many directions. And due to this light which enters into our eye, we are able to see the things. Then the main topic, that is reflection. What do we mean by reflection? Reflection is actually the bouncing back of light rays after striking with a surface. The surfaces can be of two types: the smooth surfaces or the rough surfaces like this one. When the light rays strike with some smooth surface or shiny surface, they bounce back in the same direction. All the rays will bounce back in the same direction. This type of reflection is known as specular reflection, or it is also known as regular reflection. Whereas while striking with the rough surfaces, the light rays bounce back in different directions, mean the light rays will not bounce back in the same direction, rather than they will scatter away in different directions. And this irregular or diffuse reflection is actually a main thing, due to which we are able to see the things all around us. So, diffuse reflection. Each ray, which is going to just strike with the rough surface, it moves in the other direction. It bounces back to the other direction. We will just have a more point about this slide just after some discussion. There is a wet road glare. A road, a dry asphalt roadway diffuses incident light. अगर तो road rough है तो उसके ऊपर जो light पड़ रही है, it will not just make a glare in our eyes. But if when the water is there, it is be there to form a plane surface just above the road. Hence, the light will reflect back in a regular way, and all the light beams or light rays will move towards the eyes, and hence a glare will be formed. So, rays of light. अभी जो हम पीछे बात कर रहे थे, the rays coming from the object to the surface, plane surface or rough surface. Mostly we are going to discuss about the plane surface, that is the mirror. The light coming from the object, a ray coming from the object to the mirror, is called incident ray, and when it bounces back to the eye, then it is called a reflected ray. Then image is formed on the other side of the plane mirror. We will just discuss in the upcoming slides how we can locate this image on the other side of the mirror. So, laws of reflection. There are two laws regarding to the reflection, and these are just having the three things in them. Number one, four things actually. Number one, the incident ray. Number two, the reflected ray. And number three, image. And number four, that is the normal to the surface, means an imaginary line at a point where the incident ray is striking the mirror, making an angle of 90 degree with the surface. This is called normal. And first law of reflection is the angle of incidence is equals to the angle of reflection. Where is the angle of incidence and where is the angle of reflection? Angle of incidence is usually measured between the normal and the incident ray, means this angle will be known as the angle of incidence, presented by usually small I, and on the other side, this angle between the normal and the reflected ray will be called the angle of reflection, and it is usually denoted by R. So the first law is angle of incidence equals to angle of reflection. Symbolically, you can just present it as I is equals to R. Then this is again some more explanation regarding to that law. Normal line perpendicular to the mirror surface, ये इन तीनों की definitions यहाँ पे फिर हैं. Angle of incidence, it is the angle between the incident ray and the normal, means this one here, incident ray is on the other side I, presented by capital I, and angle of incidence is presented by theta I. You can present it simple by the smaller I. This is the reflected ray, so these are the angle of incidence and angle of reflection. Then the law of reflection, उसी को इन slides को अगर हम sum up करें, the previous 3-4 slides, if they are going to be sum up, the whole thing will be just like this one. Angle of reflection, this is. Angle of incidence is this one, and they both are equal. So then the law works for flat and plane surfaces only. It is not going to work for the rough surfaces for all the rays of light. Okay? And angles are measured from a perpendicular line to the surface called a normal. This is the normal. Is it? So the next one, how we can view the image. Before discussing this slide, I'm moving back towards slide number 5, and we are going to discuss a little thing regarding here. When the incident ray, any incident ray strikes with the rough surface, it bounces back. This single ray obeys the first law of reflection, means its angle of incidence and angle of reflection will be equal to each other. But the other rays, this one B, ray B, its angle of incidence and angle of reflection will be equal to itself, but not to A. Means the angle of incidences and reflections of different rays will be different from one another, but each ray, single ray, is obeying the first law. So now moving towards our next slide, that is virtual image. What do we mean by the virtual image? All observers, here is an object in front of a plane mirror, and 3 persons are there who are going to view the image of this object. All observers would perceive light to be diverging from the same point, that is the image point. ये सबको ऐसे लग रहा है जैसे लाइट यहाँ से निकल के आ रही है, जहाँ से उनको इमेज नजर आ रही है. An image which is formed on the other side of the mirror, where there is actually no light, that image is called a virtual image, and sometimes it is also called an imaginary image. So an image is a position in space from which all reflected light appears to diverge. They are not going to actually moving from here, but it seems that the light is coming from this point. Actually, it is reflecting from the mirror and moving back to the eyes, like this one. Striking and moving back, reflecting. Striking with the mirror and reflecting to the person, and hence we are able to see the images of the objects in the plane mirrors. So image formed by a plane mirror is called a virtual image. And what is a virtual image? These are the images formed in regions where there is actually no light. So how we can locate the image of an object? Here is the procedure. Just have a look and then try to understand it. Again, we are going to just observe it. How the image's amplitude of light rays from the object will be incident towards the mirror. Then the light will reflect off the mirror according to the law of reflection, means. And then image is the location where all reflected light rays intersect with each other. Hence, this will be the image location. So image formed by plane mirrors, we can just do this image location. We can locate the image with the help of a single ray as well. If the object is given to us and we have been asked to locate the image, then we can just draw a perpendicular line making an angle of 90 degree with the surface, equal distance. The object, जितना distance object का mirror से है, at the same distance from the mirror, the image will be located in a straight line, perpendicular line draw करें with equal distances on both sides of the mirror. Then draw an incident ray here, and at the point where it is striking, join this point with the image with a dotted line. Dotted line means it is an imaginary line, not an actual one, and proceed this line towards a eye. Hence, this will by doing this, you will get the reflected ray, and this will show the procedure of reflection, and the image will be located here by this procedure. So the two rays can also be used to just view the image or to locate the image. If the object is bigger one, not a point, then two rays, one from its one end and the second ray from its other or furthest end. Two rays will be here, incident ray and then reflected ray. By the same procedure as in the previous slide, from the image, extend this ray to the eye, you will get the incident and reflected ray from both the points, from the top and the bottom, and hence you will get the image on the other side. So the last thing, only an introduction to an instrument, the lenses. Lenses are actually the transparent pieces of glass or plastic. And they are of two shapes, like this one, curved outside. It is called a convex lens. And convex lens actually diverge the light rays on a single point. They actually focus the light rays on a single point. But there is another type of lenses which are thinner at the middle and thicker at the ends. This is called a concave lens, and this type of lens actually diverge the light rays, means they are not going to focus the light ray at a single point, but they are going to scatter down them. Okay, so this type of lenses is called concave lens or converging lens. So students, that's all for today. Take care of yourself. We will just see you in the upcoming lecture on Monday again.